Hey everybody, how's it going? Glad you're here. I don't know who's here. Who's here? Who do we have here? What's up? This is the Canary Cry News Talk pre-show. Glad you're here. Did I mention we're all here? I'm not seeing anybody in the chat. I'm wondering if that's a problem with me or a problem with you. Nobody chatting? Is that the thing? Okay. All right, folks. Gons tells me that somebody's here, but I don't see you. That's my bad. Well, if you're here, we're glad you're here. If you're not here, get here. End of show. Just kidding. Yeah, got a great show for you today. Sorry, a little scatterbrained here, but once we get rolling, once we get the momentum going, everything will be fine. At least that's what I'm telling myself here. We got Cody, we got Seraphim, we got Johnny, Laura, Courtney, Kim, 122, Go2, and Twitch. Sandra's here. What's up, Sandra? One last Petunia, Digital Generation. Malik's here, everybody. Loverbug, 91. What is this? Oh, yeah, hi. Just a reminder, everybody, we do have that Twitch channel up. Apologies, have not been plugging it very much. In fact, there's a lot of things we have not been plugging very much. Turns out you can shave some time off the show when you cut down the plugs. I will remind everybody you could join the text message alert system, so you don't have to rely on big text notifications telling you when the show goes live. You can text the word Canary to 740-3226. That's the word Canary to 877-740-3226, and you will get a text message. It's a good time, and again, I see all of your replies to the messages. I wish I could talk back to you. I can't, though. It's very expensive for us to talk back to you. But I see your replies, and I appreciate them very much. As a reminder, you can leave a pre-show prayer or leave us a voice message by going to canarycrynewstalk.com, hitting that green tab that's on the bottom or the right-hand side. And you can leave us 90 seconds. You can leave a pre-show prayer to spiritually produce the show at the top of the show. You can give shout-outs. You can ask questions. You can just sing a little song. There's all sorts of things you can do with the power of sending a voice message into the show. Plus, you do it enough, you can actually get used to hearing your own voice on a podcast. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's good for you. All right. Control room is telling me it is time to go, so that's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to play this pre-show prayer and get on with the show.
Jehovah Jireh, thank you for all you provide for us. Everything we need, nothing we don't. We're not tempted by you. You give us the food for our soul and our spirit. You give and you take away. You give blessings and you take away the pain. You don't take away your blessings. We lose those on our own. I believe it. But thank you for today. Thank you for the Canary Cry family, this community. Thank you for allowing us to gather. Thank you that your day of judgment is coming, where there's a world full of wheat, no tares. Amen.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 2nd, 2023. We're live to tape on episode 651, and today, Breakthrough Phase. And signing on from Off the Grid, you're not crazy, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
You're ready to leave already. And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California in a sweaty office to bring the best news. the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomenon. It's in the title, Breakthrough Phase. You know, we're kind of we're in like a leap era of the technocracy. I know we were talking before the show, Basil. You're like, hey, the show's a little tech heavy. Bro, the technocracy's rising, man. We gotta talk about it. They're making breakthroughs in science and brain chips, and it's all happening.
Yeah. You're welcome, everybody. Somebody's got to bring a little balance to this circus. Yeah, no, it is crazy, though. It does not stop, Gons. It will not stop.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start fitting in "You Are Not Crazy" into my intro. It seems like just something I think a lot of people need to hear and need to hear over and over and over. And I think it's a good place to start from the top of the show. So keep an ear out for that. I might just completely forget about it and never do it again, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But Guns, speaking of which, we do need to do a disclaimer for the YouTube.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, and Gons, let me do my best to give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
That's right, we're starting out. Kenya does not bend the knee to the orb. We'll give you an orb update, as well as LK99. What is it? Why is it? And why are cat girls on the internet making it in their basement? We'll be talking about that just briefly. And of course, Gonzo giving us a rundown about electroshock therapy for your jeans. And no, not your denim. Then a cyborg guy. We'll talk about a cyborg guy because microchips are infrastructure. And of course, the FLIPPY update. That's going to be a doozy. But then we'll be doing a breakdown on a Politico article. Once again, the diamond in the rough of these mainstream news media people just not getting the point when it comes to conspiracy theories, conspiracy theorists, and the glaring hypocrisy in their explanation of these things. And then we'll be getting a rundown of Torch.ai. If you're wondering, what's going on with the Federal Reserve, CBDCs, the clandestine move to radically change the way that money exists in the world. Who knows? Maybe the aliens will like it. Gons will be giving us a rundown there. And then at the end of the show, watermelons in Antarctica.
You're done?
I'm done.
Okay, so first story, yeah?
Yes.
All right, let's get it going. So first thing, so it's kind of a combination of things here, and it's a little bit of being watched, the privacy situation.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
It's a crypto.
Is this a crypto? Crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
And it's the orb.
No debate. Must have digital ID. And you must bow down to the orb. Bow to the orb. What a fun little bumper you got there, Gons. It's good.
Yeah, it's Jonathan F. production.
Good job, Jonathan F. Thank you for that. All right, the orb, Worldcoin. We have seen it. We've seen the orb. We've been tracking the orb for years now. Those who wish to join the beast system have been kneeling before the orb, letting it suck their soul from their bodies and giving them some cryptocurrency in return. But not everybody's down, baby. In this world of, Afrofuturism would have been a big part of this.
Yeah.
You can just take a look for that for a second.
What shall we do?
thought it was interesting.
Colonize.
I forgot that was a two-parter. In this moment in history where Africa is sort of center stage in the spotlight in regards to power plays by the different superpowers, and is obviously the next theater to be taken over by the comedy troupe that is the elite lizard people. This makes it extra interesting. This Reuters article here, headline, Kenya suspends Worldcoin's crypto project over safety concerns. And you get the point. Kenya's Interior Ministry said on Wednesday that it had suspended the local activities, assess potential risks to public safety. The project founded by Open, you know the thing, you know the orb. Kenya says nay. Now, if you recall, everybody, but including Gans, Africa has been a really interesting test ground, well, for a lot of horrible things that are indicative of the future. Maybe it's medical experimentation or what have you. But even CBDCs, cryptocurrencies on a national level. What was it, Uganda? Was that the test ground, or do you remember?
There's a few of them. There's like Akon.
Oh, Nigeria. Nigeria was a big one.
Yeah, they had rolled out the CBDC. So yes, it's been a developing thing. It's similar to having this as a bill. Like you mentioned, but it's more specifically Bill Gates going in with a lot of the jabbies into Africa, and they don't like it. It's kind of got like a similar vibe, where it's like the West coming in with their thing, and then the government's
that's
like,
right. It's fun to see Africa really understand and take action based on the fact that they are obviously being targeted by the West and other superpowers.
Uh-oh, you cut out. Are you still there, Basil?
That was weird. Somehow the mute button got pushed on my Skype. Sorry about that, everybody. Where was I? Yeah, so we've seen Africa be, just sort of the testing ground for so many of the technocratic, futuristic shenanigans, whether it be medical or economical or resource, whatever, natural resource, everything. So it's been fun to watch some of these African countries kind of push back, or at least hold out for a better deal. They know the history, they know the sort of colonial history of specifically Europe coming in. Indeed, Niger, which is recently couped Niger, which is wrapped up in a whole bunch of a wily web of outsider interference in regards to weapons and coups and things like this. Why was I bringing up Niger? I don't know.
The coup?
This is about Kenya.
Well, you were just going down the Africa, the Afrofuturism trail, and yes, we've been covering a lot of different topics regarding that. So and here we go.
So,
the Worldcoin goes over there. Somebody
orb.
can make the orb. People can
bring
make money.
The orb of what, I love it. You see a giant plane lands on the runway. Dust is kicking up everywhere. Out steps Sam Altman, the white savior of Afro crypto future. He holds out his orb and tells the good people of Kenya that all they need to do is bow down, let the orb steal their soul, and they'll be launched into the crypto future. Afrofuturism, baby. It's the promise that Africa will save us all. And Kenya's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really see a benefit in this. And we've seen this type of opportunity work really well for Putin and the Russians, because really all he has to do is just wait for the U.S. or other Western partners to go into Africa, embarrass ourselves by doing a bad job of tricking them into colonizing themselves for us, and then Putin steps in and gets a bunch of good press for just being, I don't know, whatever, chill for a second. But this is a bit of a blow for Sam Altman, trying to bring digital ID to the un-ID'd, bringing prosperity to those who have not stared into the abyss of the orb, and passing out, free cryptocurrency in the name of the beast system. So good on you, Kenya. I don't know what you're waiting for. You're probably waiting for, I don't know, probably money or something. But get what you can, because once you stare into the orb, your soul is theirs.
Well, it's hilarious, too, because I've dug into the technology a little bit behind it, because they've tried to explain that. Part of it is kind of interesting because the people that are in the weeds, they're too deep into the weeds when it comes to the technology. They're looking at it going, but they're gathering the data with optimistic rollups, which is this new scaling solution for Ethereum. And you can share parts of data to verify something instead of the whole thing. So, you're not really giving up your identity or giving up your name or anything like that. It's just the biometric information. It's like, yeah, that's it. You're just collecting a bunch of biometric information. That's the issue. It's not so much the method at which you are getting it, although that is also very creepy. Orb not really working out for Sam Altman's. I don't know, though. They kind of crowned him as the guy. He's Sam Bankman-Fried, Sam Altman. He's got the effective altruism thing going on. So, he's going to Bilderberg meetings. It's the whole deal. So,
which is a twisted philosophical sort of school of thought right now going around the elite tech people.
The justification to do bad things.
Yeah, allows them to do horrible things and get away with it.
People aren't going to agree with it, but, it must be done.
SBF being a good example of that. So, I think it's interesting. The model of Worldcoin is very similar to the early promises of social media, which is, hey, it's free. Get involved. You can have your profile. It's awesome. And maybe you can even make some money doing it.
Well, PayPal launched like that too. PayPal, didn't they give like a few bucks to anybody who opened a PayPal account?
I don't know. But the thing that I love about what Kenya is doing is they're like, we're not stupid. We've seen this before. Right. If something is free or you're paying us, that means we're the product. And you know what? I kind of get it. Africans are tired of being the product. Gons.
Yeah.
Here's a quote. Where'd it go? Relevant security, financial services, and data protection agencies have commenced inquiries and investigations to establish the authenticity and legality of the aforesaid activities, talking about the Worldcoin. Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki said in a statement, "That's a bunch of big words. These Kenyans know what they're doing, man. Good on you."
Well, you got the internet now. We all got the internet. It's kind of leveled the playing field. Sam Altman moving around thinking,
"Thanks, Elon."
Yeah, no one notices him, but I think everybody notices him.
I think this is part of the soft power play for who gets to have the most influence in Africa. And I would not be surprised if in the next few days we see Putin stepping in and making Kenyans a better deal than the orb.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Putin is his own version of the orb. He's more like a collection of orbs, shirtless on a horse riding through a river, which, you know what? I could see the appeal.
Yeah.
But not only that, Gons, the internet is aflame with talk about LK99.
Yeah, we have to build back better.
Build back better. Blah, blah, blah. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
And we can't do that without science.
Science is truth.
Yes, as we know, science is truth. Well,
Fauci said it.
If I don't know, here's the thing. This is one of the crazy things about doing what we do, which is sometimes something becomes such a big deal on Twitter or on the internet that we kind of are like, I don't know, let's not even touch it because everybody's going to already know about it. But I forget that 90% of people who listen to the show are not like addicted to Twitter and see everything that goes on. But this is a big deal. It's a big deal for either a couple of reasons or one of a couple of reasons. And this is a mysterious substance called LK99. And for reference here, we've got this South China Morning Post article that says, could Chinese team's viral LK99 video offer clue to superconductor holy grail of physics? Ooh. Long story short, folks, a group of scientists sort of just working away alone in secret, and they have allegedly created what is considered, a potential room temperature superconductor. If you need a reminder, superconductors are materials that allow electricity to pass through them with no resistance, or at least very little resistance. And because of this, they have very strange properties when they come in contact with magnets or magnetic fields. There's a lot of talk about superconductors, in the sort of UFO space, that they're very exotic materials. It could be, extraterrestrial related, something like this. And really, when it comes down to it, if there was a cheap and effective superconductor that operated at room temperature, which most superconductors need to be like minus 1,000 Celsius or something to work, then it would absolutely change the course of human history as we know it. Some people, whether it's hyperbole or not, are comparing it to fire. It would entirely change the human experience. And of course, that's also what they said about AI. In fact, there's some hilarious memes about how the second this superconductor conversation started, AI became, last week's news. But there was a group of scientists in Korea who posted a preprint study to Archive about how they created this room temperature superconductor. And this is a pretty big deal. And part of the reason it's such a big deal is they also posted the recipe, the way to create it. And it's incredibly easy to create as far as like otherworldly superconducting exotic nanomaterials are concerned. Fairly easy to make. In fact, it's so easy to make that a Russian cat girl on Twitch made it live on her stream over the course of a couple days. Takes a couple days to make, allegedly. Now, when this came out, the internet exploded. People suddenly were experts on superconductors, as am I now. You're welcome. And along with that came a lot of mainstream media, bah humbugging about the thing. Now, one thing I found interesting about this was, so again, if this room temperature superconductor is real, and it is as easy and cheap to make as the Korean scientists claim, it will, in 5 years would make all battery technology obsolete. It would make fossil fuels obsolete. Flying cars would just sort of happen. That's not even that much of an exaggeration. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but not much. Quantum computers would almost instantly become a reality. Your phone would be literally like 1 million times faster than it is now. All these things. I mean, it would open and shut the door into the sort of futuristic technocratic utopia that's always talked about. Now, the Korean team put out their information. People are skeptical. People start trying to recreate it, posting their results online. Subsequently, there's been a few more videos of labs from China and around the world who have claimed that they have replicated this material, but we're not so sure. It's interesting backstory. It was like one of the guys on the Korean team, maybe a couple of the guys on the Korean team, were the ones who posted it, I guess against the wishes of the rest of the scientists. So there's a little bit of like infighting. Some of the scientists didn't want to post it. Some did want to post it. And I could see that being that's the most interesting part of the story to me, which is, look, we know throughout history there have been enormous technological leaps made forward, and people try to sell it to the government or try to, sell it to a corporation or try to whatever, something that would completely change the world, break everybody out of the matrix or whatever. And we all know what happens to them. They have a little whoopsie daisies.
They disappear. They go away.
They slip in the shower. They, get put in a mental institution. Something happens where their discovery is sort of buried. This might be the first time in history where one of these big, humongous technological, earth-shattering technologies are discovered, where they just sort of realized that if they didn't put it out now, they didn't put it out publicly, and they didn't spread it as far and wide as possible, that, it's just a matter of days before men in black suits show up and carry them away. So on that end, I find it a very compelling story. Now, of course, the mainstream media is coming in and very, very skeptical of this whole thing. The scientific establishment, of course, has teamed up with mainstream media, and lots of energy being put into convincing the public to just stop paying attention to that silly thing on the internet with the superconductor.
No wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of very compelling, videos and data coming out that it could just be a matter of time, Gons, before we're all zipping around in our own UFOs. And the timing of this happening just days after the congressional UFO hearings or whatever is pretty suspicious as well.
It does feel very coordinated, and it feels like a technology or a chemistry or whatever it is exactly. I haven't done the deep dive yet. I'm just speaking from the hip here, or shooting from the hip, not speaking, but shooting.
Speak.
Yeah, it just feels like something that's been around, that maybe there's some science to it, and they're trying to push the boundaries of science in a sense, but also just try to move into mainstream, the ivory tower establishment with more fringier science. Whether it's grounded in actual science or not, I don't know. It sounds like there's some level of actual science.
You got to do a dive, man. You got to do a dive.
I will, but I don't have time, man.
I think it was literally these scientists are trying not to get killed, so they put it out there. But we'll see.
It's possible. I mean, but there's an open source aspect to this. It's really interesting and very apropos for where we are. Mm-hmm. There's a distrust in all the institutions. So yeah, there could be a big shakeup. And of course, now would be the time to start releasing the blueprint, the science behind, some of our most important commodities like computers, to completely revolutionize, and, the Great Reset and all that. It's all based on the economics. So, necro-capitalism of the old way, old batteries. Oh, our children are going to be saying, you grew up in the old battery. How disturbing, and all that.
Well, the implications are more than, this will collapse the entire sort of world system based on fossil fuels and precious metals. It's literally made by it's like iron and copper and like phosphate or something. I don't know. That's not exactly right, but it's like incredibly simple and cheap and easy to make, which is not good news for the tycoons of industry. Also not great news for the whole idea of taking over Africa by China and the U.S. and Russia. It kind of throws that all into a tizzy.
Oh yeah, if the thing that the technological advantage that the West or these elite groups had is completely made obsolete because of DIY science, kits
that's
at
kind
home.
Of the idea.
That's the world we're getting into here. The decentralized world, right. Man.
I don't know if this is going to protect the scientists from getting disappeared or whatever, but 4 hours, so we'll be keeping an eye on it. And who knows? Maybe I'll try making some out here. I just need to build a kiln that can get to 725 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll work on it. Yep, there you go.
'cause I'm DNA.
All right, this is coming from the DailyMail.co.uk. We're talking about breakthroughs here, and there's seems to be just a theme of a bunch of little breakthroughs. This headline here will be real quick. Scientists can now control human DNA with electricity using new tech that sparks genes back to life. Oh, yeah. Scientists have, for the first time, managed to control human DNA with electricity in what could be a breakthrough. A team in Switzerland successfully switched human genes on and off using electrical currents from 2 medical-grade acupuncture needles. The stimulating zaps help activate insulin-producing genes, creating using gene therapy methods that the Swiss team has developed for over the past 5 years. The researchers call their new tech the missing link for gene-based therapies. And the whole thing, it's called DART. It's the Direct Current Actuated Regulation Technology. And it enables communication between electronic and biological systems that had been largely incompatible before. And this is very much in line with all the stuff we have been covering for years. Electronic and biological systems function in radically different ways and are largely incompatible due to the lack of a functional communication interface, the team said in their new study published Monday in Nature Metabolism. Biological systems are analog, programmed by genetics, updated slowly by evolution, and controlled by ions flowing through insulated membranes, the scientists explained. Electronic systems, they wrote, in contrast, are digital, programmed by readily updatable software and controlled by electrons flowing through insulated wires. Working out of ETH Zurich, a public research university in Switzerland, the researchers developed an intentionally simple system that uses World Health Organization approved and U.S. Food and Drug Administration, that's FDA, licensed acupuncture needle electrodes to deliver modest life-saving jolts. So thank the WHO and the FDA and their compliance team there to make sure that these needles, anyone can get a genetic DNA zap at home.
Yeah, I don't get it. Has nobody tried zapping DNA before? Is this
all
the
breakthroughs,
first time?
man. It's all breakthroughs. They're just telling everybody. Come on, the things. There's nothing new under the sun, Basil. You know that's our philosophy here. We're not trying to break them.
Yeah, well, it is very interesting. I mean, in the world of mRNA and blah, 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 and gene therapies and this and that and that and this, these guys just kind of hook you up to a 9-volt battery, give you a little zap, and fix your diabetes, apparently.
Well, and you won't even need, if the LK99 stuff is real, then, hey, you don't even need batteries. Just hook it up to LK99 and you live forever.
You think they could give me my kangaroo legs? Can they switch that gene on? Is it that easy?
We're going into the days of Babel, Basil. That's hard to say.
Basil.
So yes, you're only limited by your imagination. So if kangaroo legs is what you want, then you shall receive. But you may have to sell your soul. Yeah. All right. Real quick here. Also,
are you ready to become cyborg?
This is another breakthrough, allegedly. Metro.co.uk headline: Mind-controlling chip allows paralyzed man to move in miracle, world first. And yeah, we've seen a lot of progression with microchips in the brain and things of that nature. Just a heads up, I have a clip here from this report. It shows a little bit of graphic stuff, a whole open skull and a little bit of brain. Just for anybody watching, just a heads up. The audio, you're fine. But there's a 2-minute clip here of the guy. I forget his name here. Let me pull up his name. Keith Thomas. Sorry about that. And what you'll notice is that it's a very emotional piece. And in terms of making this technology ethical, it has to appeal to emotions. And so it's a very powerful piece here. So I'll play it for here.
The next day was July 18th, 2020, and we were just hanging out by the pool. And I went to dive into the pool, and then I just blacked out. Next thing you know, there was a helicopter on the front lawn. And, the next day I couldn't even move.
Keith was paralyzed from the chest down.
When we met Keith for the first time, he was not even able to lift his arms off of his wheelchair, and he was not able to feel anything in his arm and hands either. After Keith was enrolled into the study, we performed functional MRI, and this allowed us to view the motor and sensory areas of Keith's brain, and it allowed us to really pinpoint where we needed to implant both the motor and sensory electrodes.
After opening the skull and opening the cover of the brain, we then got out a stimulator. We had a pretty good idea where the hand areas were going to be, and we stimulated them directly.
You feel the thumb?
It's in the thumb?
Yeah, it's in the thumb.
So I placed it right over one area, and he said, I feel my thumb. I said, what part of your thumb? He said, my thumb tip, the inside of my thumb tip. And I said, we found it. At that point, we brought in the actual device, mounted it onto the skull, and then used these wires to gently lay them without damaging them, and place them precisely in those 3 areas that felt the fingers, as well as the 2 areas where we knew that his hand motor function was.
So Keith's brain is literally connected to a computer. There are signals from his motor area responsible for movement going to the computer, and signals from the computer are going back to different stimulation points in his body, brain, and spinal cord. And the goal is to restore movement and the sense of touch in a lasting way.
But I like to see an actual person, like a family member, touch you and feel that it's different.
We have started to see some lasting new sensations in his arm that are present even when we turn off the bypass. I think we're going to continue to see progress, and I think it'll be applicable to the millions of folks around the world that really need this technology.
All right, there you go.
Wow.
So what you heard there...
Where's Elon on this one?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Elon's probably waiting in the wings. But yeah, the emotional moment there at the end where he feels his sister's hand. So there's footage of him touching his sister's hand, and he can feel it. So that's really the powerful moment of... you know, the miracle of this technology and how they were able to bring a sense of feeling back into this person's arms. And it is strong. It's a powerful thing, a piece, you know, it's healing. And also it's just kind of nuts that they're able to, the technology here that they're using is called double neural bypass. And it forms an electronic bridge that allows information to flow between Mr. Thomas's body and brain to restore movement and sensations in his hands, even outside the laboratory. It's the quote, this is the first time the brain, body, and spinal cord have been linked together electronically in a paralyzed human to restore lasting movement and sensation. So
okay, that was my first question. So this is the first time this has happened.
This is the first time, yeah.
I feel like we would have heard if it had happened before. But yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Again, in just the march toward, you know, the whole thing. It is, as we've been following with Neuralink and other brain-computer interface projects, it is, at this point, stated goal is all about healing people. It's all about restoring what was once lost. It's all about bringing, you know, the human connection back to an unfortunate situation. And that makes this moment a pretty big deal. So if I understand it correctly, what they did was they put a computer in between his brain and his spinal column.
Yeah, so basically, yeah,
so like,
signals being sent to the computer to sort of reconnect it or redirect it to different parts of the body. Yeah,
brain connected to computer, computer connected to spinal cord.
Right.
So he really has like that's like straight up cyborg.
That's cyborg. That's what I'm saying. Straight up,
it's full on cyborg. Okay,
full on cyborg, but it's restoring. See, it's not just that, and of course. There will be some who want to stay in that state. For him, he's probably just wants to get back to normal life. But as time goes on and his culture moves forward and these things become more normal, the implications of what people might want or do with this technology is very interesting. But it is the healing aspect of this is what is I think most powerful because, you know, I have my notes here that we're entering sort of a mystical science theater here, like all these kind of fantastical. Woo-woo science of the mystical natures of reality and pushing the boundaries is sort of a Joe Rogan, Graham Hancock world with UFOs and all that kind of stuff. It's all being scientized, or like quantified with science or quantized with science. I don't know. But
it fits like perfectly right into the whole 2023 thing.
Or
2023.
Or 2023
for this
as in
year.
this year. Yeah.
This year, it's just blowing. It's making like our brains spin how frequently pieces of technology that we talked about 10 years ago as like a fun, crazy thing to talk about, conspiracy theory, wooey woo, UFO, blah, blah, blah. Look at us, crazy podcast boys. But this year specifically, I mean, whether it's robots, AI, UFOs, superconductors, chips, and now, cyborg.
Yeah,
it's pretty. What more could happen this year? It's crazy.
Oh, I'm sure more.
We're
moving up the scale, man.
Oh, geez.
So of course, this makes Joe Biden's tweet here very interesting because Keith over there, he's got a microchip in his brain, and well, hairy legs Joe Biden.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
The president, yes. He tweeted out, microchips are infrastructure. They power our daily lives. Oh, don't they? And through the Chips and Science Act, my administration is ensuring they're made in America again. American-made chips. But that also makes Keith kind of a commodity, doesn't it? I mean, or infrastructure at the very least.
Totally. I mean, that's one of the tricky part about the cyborgism, the brain-computer interfaces, which was actually explored in that show I told everybody to check out, which I forget. Oh, Years and Years.
Oh, yeah,
it's a show called Years and Years. Came out in 2019, predicted the last 3 years perfectly. Very strange. But part of it was the transhuman subculture becoming mainstream, but the chips and the implants and things like that they were receiving in the show were still government property. And it was a way for the government to sort of gain legal ownership over parts of people's bodies. And you connect the breakthrough that you're just talking about here, the brain-computer interface, restoring this guy's life. I mean, potentially through the use of microchips, and microchips are infrastructure, baby. So it's not that crazy to say that the people at the top of the pyramid here, they already consider us human resources.
Yeah.
We
humans
use the
vernacular
infrastructure
in business.
Yeah. But even more so when chips are infrastructure. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yep. And got me thinking, because at the end of that clip, that guy was saying, it's going to potentially help millions of people that need it. And of course, given the transhuman roadmap here with Jared Kushner leading the way.
My generation is, hopefully with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
So, probably pretty close to some biblical events here. But one of the things that I thought of was, okay, if a lizard person was thinking, like, how do we scale this? Millions of people need this brain chip computer interface thing to restore their body movements and all that. How do we scale that from millions to billions? And then I just realized that, oh, wow, we've talked about this passage from Revelation 9, verse 6, about in those days men will seek death and will not find it. They'll long to die, but death will escape them. And, surrounding that text is the locust, the crazy like hybrid locusts that come out of the abyss, led by Abaddon, Apollyon, like the whole craziness. It seems like the trajectory of crazy is leading to this event. And then they're all these people are going to be hurt. They're going to be tortured for 5 months, but not killed. And I can just picture, all the robots like, all the humans are hurt. We must help them restore. And then all the microchips are in there and they don't die. They can't die because the robots are making sure they stay alive, The robots.
Man, the robots.
And that'll be the first woe.
Right.
So.
I mean, that is kind of the logical extension of this thing. Like, at what point can government property be installed in your body that results in you losing perhaps even the right to die?
Yeah.
Like the human right.
You're plugged in,
if you are
the hive mind.
An asset, if you become an asset, if you become a resource, one that, the government is highly invested in, you don't have the right to pass away. That's against the interests of the United States or whatever, the world government.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean,
okay,
there we are. People,
wow,
people need to read the Bible.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
Strong start. Okay, folks, we're here. It's Wednesday. Let's get to it.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Hey guys,
Wednesday.
what date is it? It's Wednesday. Time for Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
Wednesday, my dudes.
Woo.
Okay, wow. It was even louder and more obnoxious today. That's how you know it's a good Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Gons, how you doing today? You doing okay? The office is still slowly but surely becoming a non-fire hazard.
Yeah, we spent so much time putting it together yesterday that we just had cereal for dinner last night. It was so late.
Yummy.
We had to feed the children. We're like, what are we gonna do? Cereal, baby. At least it was healthier cereal, but
it's nice that it's kind of a family project, though.
Oh yeah.
You got some help, yeah.
Yeah,
good.
they're in there. Yeah, they're starting to learn how to use heavy machinery tools, drilling, things of that nature.
Good. Start them early.
Yeah,
they're gonna need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. I don't know, man. It's still hot.
Yeah, it is hot.
Yeah, we got some mail in the P.O. box. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, my chicken keeps laying eggs, baby. That's right. I got cute little green, teeny tiny. Still waiting for the emus to start laying. Allegedly, the emus, if indeed they are capable of laying eggs, should start laying eggs in the next month or so. So that's kind of fun. I did learn about something called the Great Emu War in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Happened in 1932. So close.
Yeah.
Long story short, I thought about maybe putting together an entire. I was like, I have to talk about the Great Emu War. I don't know. There's so many details. Such a crazy story. Basically, the Australian government went to war with 20,000 wild emus with machine guns and artillery and like soldiers. And the government lost the Great Emu War. I know we have Australian listeners. I love y'all. You lost a war against emus. I'm not even sure that says anything about the Australian military capabilities. I think it says more about the military capabilities of emus. Yeah. And so I was thinking about figuring out ways to weaponize the emus. I'll keep everybody posted.
Wasn't it Australia where the people were riding on horses during COVID, like, telling people to rebel and stuff?
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, emu versus horse.
Well, the Australian government, not very effective fighting emus, but pretty effective fighting their own citizens.
Oh, they're great. I mean, they were up there, definitely like top 10.
That's right.
COVID.
Well, you know who else is top 10 Gons? That is our executive producers.
Oh.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model. It means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, or cartels. No, we are entirely funded by people who get value from this show. If you're a listener, this show brings any value to your life someday. Maybe you've been listening for one episode. Maybe you've been listening for a year. Maybe, like many of you, you've been listening for over 10 years. one of these days, the spirit will move, and you will know it is time to produce the show. And that's what you become, producers of the show. We aren't bothering with the whole hullabaloo of gathering up your trust and attention so we can package it up and sell it to corporations. No. We just leave it to the paradigm-shifting concept that if something like this show brings value to people's life, they will put value back in if they want it to exist. And it's the only way we can exist. So you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to do it. But the executive producers, they come in, they're extra generous. They support any individual episode with $100 or more, and we thank them here at the top. Gons, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, we are starting out with, oh my gosh, get that executive streak button ready. We got executive producer Kevin M coming in again. Comes in for 133.33. So, you know, wink. Wink. He's one of those. And he's on a 3-episode executive producer streak, which means Kevin M's heating up.
He's heating up.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kevin. I'm very generous and faithful recently, and we appreciate that. Well, always has been. I did not see a note come in. Did you see a note come in or anything? I don't know. He doesn't usually send a note, but just thought I'd keep an eye out for it. Thank you very much, executive producer Kevin M.
Thank you, executive producer.
Where'd you find this?
Next up, I have a quick correction. Correction from last episode. I incorrectly gave credit to Ciara H, but that was I misread it. It's Clara H.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you, executive producer Clara H, for last episode. We got Sir Cliff, executive producer Sir Cliff, Night of the Impending Dawn.
Nice.
Right. He comes in with 111.33.
Very nice.
Yeah. And he has a note here, which I'm very excited about.
Okay.
It says, "It is I." This is the voice I imagine Sir Cliff has. "It is I, Sir Cliff, Knight of the Impending Dawn. I got Basil a gift. It has arrived at the P.O. box. I can't keep him in the dark any longer. Winky face. It's an accessory for the Coyote Hole Punch device. A Sight Mark Wraith mini thermal scope. Have fun and stay safe."
Thank you very much.
Sir Cliff, Night of the Impending Dawn. And I bugged Gons today. He's going to get over to the P.O. box as soon as possible. Look, Sir Cliff, listen. Look, I didn't know specifically about the Sightmark Wraith Mini Thermal Scope, and I had not looked at this particular product before. But I will tell you, from the very first night that I went running out into the wilderness with my Coyote Hole Punch, with nothing but my pajamas on, the darkness, with the yipping and the yelping, the haunting cries of a pack of hungry coyotes, I thought to myself, I should get a thermal scope. This is hard to see. It's hard to see these sneaky little creatures stealing my chickens in the middle of the night. And with just the most cursory amount of Googling about thermal scopes, I immediately realized that they would be eternally outside my budget. That would never happen, and I must come to terms with the fact that I will never be able to scope out those rascally little coyotes stealing my chickens in the middle of the night. And it seems like the spirit has moved, and I feel very blessed. Thank you very much. That is an incredible come up, as the kids say these days. So Gons is going to relay that package, send it out here, and I'll keep you posted on how it goes. I'm very appreciative.
Yep. Thank you very much, Sir Cliff Knight of the Impending Dawn.
Where'd you find this?
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Sir Cliff. Last but not least, we've got Suave Slick.
Hey,
came in as a crypto executive producer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Where'd you find this?
And if it's a
That's
crypto, I suppose we shall play the crypto jingle again.
Is this a crypto?
XRP.
Crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
What is an XRP?
XRP, baby. Was that Ripple?
Ripple. Well, it used to be Ripple. Now it's XRP.
XRP. Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. We got a note.
Okay.
Future Night. It's a little bit long note, but it's a great note.
Okay.
Future Night, Suave Slick here.
Nice.
Great way to start. Future Night. Great way to start. Hopefully, I sent that XRP in time. Should be 11111. You did. You got it in time.
And by the way, just so people know, it's all on the blockchain. You can see it. You can see the transaction on the blockchain. Blockchain.
Yes.
Okay. Continue on.
So it came in with 11111 worth of XRP. Thank you very much, which I think actually gained a slight amount of value overnight.
To the moon.
And you will receive your shirt. You made it just in time. You are on the list. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Let's see here. It does say, since I've already been a part of the supply drop for a couple months now to receive the Age of Deceit DVDs, a little plug, join the supply drop right now. You can be part of the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. You'll get the shirt as well, just like Suave Slick here. Fairly new listener, he says. Just wanted to take some time and say I really love what you guys do and keep you in my prayers constantly. I've been swamped with work and life in general. Plan to be more involved in the future, but man, do you guys make my day listening to you guys. I feel like your show is the culmination of a life-changing process that started in me almost 3 years ago. Started with discovering Mike Heiser at a very low point in my life. Then I discovered Basil by unintentionally listening to his episode with Derek Gilbert's View from the Bunker podcast.
Hey.
Yay! Always nice to know that people see us on other shows. We should do that more. This is evidence right now that we need to go on other people's shows. Yeah. We are putting a call out. If a producer out there, if you are a professional or aspiring professional talent manager and you want to help us, please help us. Email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. We need somebody to manage us. We are unmanaged. Whether that's sort of official or unofficial, we just need help read. Best things to happen. Gons, your AOD films were life-changing to me. My only wish is that I would have discovered you guys when you first started, which was around when I graduated high school and started questioning the Christianity I grew up in. I was the one getting in trouble for asking too many forbidden questions, but I couldn't help it. Got really lost in other beliefs until I heard about the Divine Council worldview, and everything clicked. Yeah, that's a common story.
Yeah.
What you guys do is so valuable. Don't ever underestimate it. You guys have really taught me how to dissect news and what to look out for. Keep rattling cages. Thank you very much, Executive Producer Suave Slick.
Thank you, Executive Producer Suave Slick. And yeah, that's a really nice note. And I was thinking
very
about
nice
that.
Note.
The I guess it was yesterday or something that we as believers here, we have front row seats to some pretty crazy stuff, an accelerated era towards the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And it's what's also very interesting is that the people that get it, and the people that don't see that part of what's happening. And it's a
don't and probably won't.
Right. And it's a very fascinating kind of wheat and tares kind of thing taking place. So but yeah, for us believers, it's like, whoa, okay. I'm sure there are many theologians who studied the word for their whole lifetimes that would have loved to live in the era where they're microchipping brains and, healing people with little computers. But, yep.
And I mean, again, for us, timing has always been a weird concept in our life because on one hand, we were and are continually way too early on everything we talk about. Like nobody cares what we're, the crazy transhumanist, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like nobody cares. And now it's the biggest thing in the world. Yeah. Like every mainstream, at least podcaster and those types of, people online are tuned in to the transhuman thing. But what was I saying? I don't know. I forget where we were going with this. My brain is a little scattered today, if you haven't noticed, everybody. But
you just need to get that microchip, man. Got to
Suave Slick.
Straighten things out.
Thank you so much for the note. Thank you so much for the producership. It really means a lot to us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And a good example to people out there. There you go. Everybody gets something else. The value is unique to every person. We just had somebody else email us too and kind of laid out this journey that they've been on. And Guns, there are times where when we get discouraged in one way or another for one reason or another, and we kind of forget that
it's not about us at all.
Yeah, well, we kind of forget that people really even care. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just the internet, it's so transient. You don't know who's there, who's not there, whatever. But once in a while, people will share with us a note like this, and it is really encouraging to keep doing what we're doing, honestly, just to be totally honest and vulnerable about it. Sometimes we need to hear these stories, folks. Sometimes it's got to make sense.
It's part of my whole story too. With when I was starting after I was baptized, my whole thing. I've said it many times. It's like, okay, if this is the truth, then everything should make sense through this filter, this lens of the scriptures. So let me go figure out if that's true or not. And at first it was like, whoa, it's a little wobbly, but finding people like Heiser. Heiser's so important for that aspect of this generation. Absolutely. So, and that's what Age of Deceit came out of. It was all that research, and it was like, oh wow, there's a very clear biblical explanation for a lot of this. And even if you don't agree with everything, at least you can see the different types of interpretations or commentary or applications of the word to everything happening right now, which we've been doing forever. And iron won't mix with miry clay. Yeah, but hey, microchips and brains heal people. So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? So we're just happy everybody is here with us, and no matter how long your journey with Canary Cry has been, we're glad you're here now, and we're just going to keep doing the thing we've been doing. Some people get bored of that, but hey, they always come back.
We're just always kind of here, so if whenever
we'll be here. We'll be here when you need to know about something way too early.
Go listen to your Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro.
Tucker Carlson got an interview with the Hunter Biden guy, business partner, who
testified.
Anyways, testified.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, let's keep going. This is a nice long break here. Sorry about that, everybody, but I think it's valuable. Mm-hmm. What was I going to say? Oh, just while we're here, I want to thank a new member of the Canary Cry Babysitters Club.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was ready to move on, but unless I must change courses now, and sure.
Let's do it. That's right. It's the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. Gons has kids, and those kids need watching. And we can't do the show if the kids ain't being watched, okay? So this is a new thing. We've never had to pay a babysitter before, so we are paying a babysitter. Yeah. We're not going to get into the whole thing, Gons. We're working on it.
I have trust issues, man. Okay.
So we had a goal. We have a goal. We have a budgeted goal that is going to pay for the babysitter. And, it's like everything. It's up to the producers to decide if we're making this goal. But for those who sign up for the supply drop, canarycrysupply.com, if you sign up for the supply drop, that is equal to 1 hour of babysitting a month. So if you want to pledge 1 hour of babysitting a month for this show, Canary Cry Babysitters Club, which means you will get the T-shirt, the Canary Cry News Talk T-shirt. It is now the only way to get it if you're not part of the T-shirt council. So, anywho, we had a goal of 42. We are down to needing 31 members now. So we're making progress. What's that? 30%, something like that. And I would like to thank our new member of the Canary Cry Babysitters Club, Willie. Thank you very much, Willie. I appreciate that very much. Somebody will be reaching out to get your information for the T-shirt. Thank you very much, Willie.
Excellent.
And while I'm at it, we actually had just now, at this exact moment, a new signer-upper for the Canary Cry T-shirt Council.
Oh, hey, excellent.
Man.
T-shirt Council.
That's right. You get it. The Canary Cry T-shirt Council is the most secret of secret societies, filled with the most amazing people, the smartest, the brightest, the wisest, the best-looking secret society in the entire planet. And they have devoted their talents and their skills to possibly the most important mission in human history, which is deciding the Canary Cry News Talk T-shirt every quarter. And man, do they just keep nailing it. And we have a new member. Remember, you can go to Canary Cry T-shirt Council.com, Canary Cry T-shirt Council to join up. We have a new member whose name is most important person in the world, Stefan D.
Stefan D. Thank you. Are you sure it's Stefan, not Stephen?
I would have no way of knowing. That is a secret.
Or Stephen, yeah.
It is a divine secret that the Lord will only reveal in his time. Thank you very much, Stefan D. And okay. All right, there we go. I think that's all the people we need to thank right now. I know it's kind of a lot, folks. I'm sorry that it worked out this way. But we just really appreciate everybody keeping the show alive.
Yep.
And telling us that they appreciate the show being alive. Yep. Okay, go to canarycry.support to learn more about all of this. And here we go.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
All right, folks, time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is a little heady, but stick with me, folks. It's coming from the New York Times.
NYT.
And the headline is, "The robots we were afraid of are already here."
Dun, 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 dun. So scary.
Thanks, New York Times. New York, yes. The New York Times blowing the trumpet, hearkening the revelation that the end is nigh. Here's a little bit of a paragraph. We're going to share this one, Gantz. We're going to split this one.
Sure.
Here goes. Digit drew a crowd. Hey, if you've been listening to this show, you've been listening to the Flippy update, you already know Digit.
Yes.
You know Digit.
Yes, it's true.
We are all very familiar with Digit here. But for the uninitiated New York Times reader, they got to explain Digit. Digit drew a crowd, even here in a convention center full of robot aficionados. I cannot believe that I wasn't here.
Yes.
I'm serious. It's time for me
happening?
to start going to these things.
Yeah, we need to. We get the Burning Man thing. Maybe we need to send you to one of these next here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe unless there's going to be robots at Burning Man, I don't know. We need to take some serious stock because I need to start being at all of these robot conventions. It's just required. And, maybe I need a producer to help me plan that stuff. Digit drew a crowd, even here in a convention center full of robot aficionados. A humanoid warehouse worker, Digit walked upright on goat-like legs and grabbed bins off a shelf with muscular arms made from aerospace-grade aluminum. It then placed the boxes on an assembly line and walked back to the shelf to search for more. The crowd, which had assembled at ProMat, the premier trade show for the manufacturing and supply chain industry, held up phones and watched a little quiet, wondering if at some point the robot would teeter and fall. It did not. Digit, made by Oregon-based Agility Robotics, is the kind of technology that people have worried about for generations. A machine with the strength and adroitness to rival our own and the ability to take our jobs, or much worse, take our spouses.
And our souls.
It didn't. Yeah, it doesn't say that, but that's,
that's where it's going. Yeah,
that's the implication.
Right.
It's all about the implication
between
about the robots stealing your wives. Then ChatGPT came online, and suddenly the fear was of something smarter rather than stronger, malevolent bots rather than metallic brutes. The automation is still coming.
The automaton.
It might not be. What
you said, automation, but it's close. Automaton is still.
Automaton is still coming. It might not be ready to take over the Amazon warehouse yet, but the long-anticipated robot revolution has begun.
It's official. New York Times said it.
It has begun. It is in the paper of record. New York Times, the Gray Lady, has fired the shot, and the war has begun. Accelerated in large part by the pandemic.
There you go.
And
of course.
Thunderous growth of e-commerce.
I'm sure.
They're just listing Canary Cry news talking points of the past 6 years. Machines like Digit are ready to take over a vast swath of physical labor, from operating forklifts to doing the laundry. Now, here's the guy, Ron Kisslinger. Kisslinger. If you don't pay attention, it just seems like he's a Kissinger, but Ron Kisslinger.
It sounds like when you say Henry Kissinger drunk or something, and it's Henry Kissinger.
It's Ron
Kissinger, dude. Yeah, that guy tried to take over everything.
Well, who is this guy? Ron Kisslinger thinks this is a good thing.
Ooh.
Mr. Kisslinger, an engineer who has spearheaded automation for some of the largest retailers in the world, including Amazon and Walmart, is passionate about the potential of robots to improve the quality of life for workers. Robots free humans from boredom, repetition, physical strain, and productivity limits. Isn't that the one? I love the list.
Yeah.
Dear worker, this robot will save you from boredom, repetition, physical strain. Hey, dear bosses and corporate lizard overlords, this will free your humans from product limits that can put their jobs at risk, he believes. He also believes that Americans have a prejudice against automation because of movies like The Terminator, inhibiting them from adapting to technology in ways both beneficial and inevitable. It's inevitable, guys. The robot takeover is inevitable.
Of course.
Mr. Kisslinger, 56, is currently a consultant for See, that's what we love. We love consultants. Let the consultants tell you how to feel about robots. He's currently a consultant for companies hoping to increase automation, and his services are high in demand. Again, I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Known for his ability to see the big picture.
Hello. That is. As I was reading this, I thought they were talking about you. I was like, man, you've been
got all the qualities.
Really
me and Kisslinger
gypped.
And I'm young. I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. Let me consult. Ability to see the big picture, not just in a warehouse full of whirring machines, but across the global landscape of automation. He is blunt and methodical. Sounds like me, and can be somewhat robotic himself in his personal manner. He is often hired to diagnose problems and tell a board or chief executive how it really is.
He's a robot truther.
Ooh, yeah. It's the bad boy of robot consulting. And how it really is right now, in Mr. Kislinger's opinion, is that the world is on the brink of enormous changes when it comes to the presence of robots at work. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
They could have called me. Could have called me.
Yep.
Quote, I don't think people really understand where we are, he told me. We're just scratching the surface. Use of robots by big brands, retailers, and movers of goods is okay. They give us
They gave us some stuff. Yeah.
The whole thing, all the Flippy update listeners know about. I'm going to jump to, over the last few years, significant resources have been thrown at making robots profitable. And this is paying off. More companies are competing to solve the problems that have traditionally come with automation, and many are succeeding.
They're making money.
Making money. That's what it's all about. Quote, people are finally making money, said Samuel Reeves, chief executive of Fort Robotics. Now, real quick, this money thing, this was the whole point. We tried to drive this home, especially to the skeptics about different technologies, but robotics certainly back probably by 2020 during the pandemic is, hey, now is the time. It's finally profitable. And once something is profitable, not only is it inevitable, but it happens really fast.
Yep.
And you know what? If nothing else, you got these professional robo-consultants, quote unquote, saying the exact same thing that we said 3 years ago. So I think that's something. I don't know. I haven't done a resume in a while, but is there a section for I told you so on resumes?
There should be. There should be a scorecard or something. Well, it's all coming, Basil. It's all going to be recorded on a blockchain. We can just all
it'll be automatic.
Pulled up. Yeah. Do you want me to read
chief executive?
You got okay.
Yeah. If you got stuff highlighted, go for it.
Yeah. So just to that point, it says here we've seen billions of dollars flying into the sector. He said. So yes, there's a monetary thing here. I'm going to skip down a little bit. This is such a fun article for me to read. And there's a photo of a giant flippy arm, a yellow one. Do you see that one? The Fanuc. But it says here, at ProMat, which took place over 4 days in March inside Chicago's McCormick Place Convention Center, Digit was the undisputed star. The scene looked for the most part like a kid-friendly science fiction movie, a robot bazaar with where the machines move slowly, say excuse me, and execute limited tasks like picking up objects and dropping them. However, some robots sat inside plexiglass cages. Quote, you don't want to go in there, Mr. Kislinger said, pointing at one. Quote, that thing will knock you on your butt. End quote. ProMat's 51,000 attendees, a glad-handing throng of well-groomed middle-aged white male faces attached to monogrammed backpacks and fancy sneakers, ambled from one exhibit to the next like visitors at a zoo. I'll keep you warm and safe in my People Zoo. Look, the People Zoo is here, Basil.
Oh, they mentioned the People Zoo. Sorry, I stepped on that.
That's all right. The crowd included buyer from major retail and consumer good companies, as well as venture capitalists and engineers. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
You had to get the People Zoo in there. You nailed it.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot more of gigantic points that Flippy Update listeners don't already know, I guess.
Sure.
Did you have
There's a couple more things I have highlighted.
Okay.
Here. I can just run through them. It says here, Mr. Kislinger, whatever, who grew up in Western Pennsylvania and was a curveball throwing right-hander for the University of Pittsburgh, majored in computer science in college. Practice was at 5 a.m., so he got up at 3:30 and went to the computer lab. So we got our 33 in there, dedicated, going to the computer lab before he throws pitches, throwing sliders for Mr. Kislinger, who today lives near Myrtle Beach, SC, working for a Japanese car company, was a formative experience, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's not a great point. There's the squashing Q-tip. Do you see the picture of that two-handed Have we talked about this robot?
No.
Fanuc robot with the two hands holding up the ball. Anyway, there's that. The octopus appendages.
Okay. Hold on. Let me give one more big point, unless you have a big point.
I might. I don't know.
Because we don't want to belabor.
Sure. I know there's something else in here. Just let me find it.
Okay. Do some scanning. But there was this very interesting spot that I was just at that is now gone. You know what? New York Times putting out 10,000 words. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Or you want me to do it? Okay.
I was stalling for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they talk about Fort Robotics here. It's a robotic-controlled platform, according to Mr. Reeves, this is a different guy, and one of only a few companies focused on preventing robots from mauling workers, which Mr. Reeves called a, quote, disaster waiting to happen. So there's a company out there that's all they do is basically try to prevent people from getting mauled by robots.
Yeah,
so maybe that's somebody
a safety company.
Safety company, yeah. And Mr. Keisingler guy, he's really unimpressed with a lot of robots in this article, and
it's wonderful. He's tearing these robots up. He walks through like some sort of robo judge, some sort of robo snob. He sounds like a fun guy to me. This was a very interesting part. Of course, throughout the whole thing, they make it to the end and they get to the point of, are the robots gonna destroy the future? Are we talking about a jobless future? Are they gonna take our jobs, enslave our children, and flirt with our spouses? And of course, we all know the answer. Everybody say it together. No, the robots are your friends. But there was an interesting quote here. In 2018, before the pandemic unleashed a torrent of pressure on companies to automate, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology commissioned a task force on, quote, the work of the future. The task force concluded that, quote, no compelling evidence suggests that technological advances are driving us toward a jobless future. On the contrary, it anticipated more job openings than workers to fill them. Nevertheless, it argued, quote, the implications of robotics and automation for workers will not be benign. Will not be benign, Gons.
Wow. Okay.
Fear the Robo-Man.
He does come off as like a perfect flippy villain in all this. I feel like he can really play that role. Have you seen the picture?
A bit of a Thanos character.
Right.
He even kind of looks like Thanos. But he's kind of like, Thanos in that he thinks he's the good guy and doing the right thing and saving the world, which just happens to include, killing half the people in existence.
Yeah.
And they talk about the pandemic, stuff like that. But here at the end, still, the machine was moving slowly, talking about Digit again, slower than most humans. Mr. Kisslinger studied its movements, seemingly unimpressed. Quote, a lot of algorithms go into that, he said. Quote, humans do those things without even thinking. But he added, to be an improvement over humans, machines don't need to be faster. Quote, robots show up every day, he said. Ooh. Oh, they don't need to be faster. They show up every day.
Man, what a burn.
Yeah. So there you go. This was more about sort of a pretty incredible institutional, I don't know, not quite. I was going to say an institutional Hail Mary from the New York Times, trying to get in the conversation about the robots and hooking themselves.
They noticed that fringe Christian podcasters are leading the charge in the conversation. Yes. We must do something to catch up. We'll make personal. This guy a star. Which, by the way, is funny because in the article, the guy or gal or whoever interviewed him was following him around, and they were saying that he was such a celebrity at this conference. He couldn't take a step or two without somebody else coming up to him and saying "Oh, he's so amazing."
I want to be a robot celebrity. I want to be a robot conference celebrity. What the heck?
Yeah, well, there you go.
All right, there you go, folks. That's your Flippy update for the day.
Fantastic. Let's continue on here. We got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yes?
Do you wanna do yours next?
What is mine?
Or is that out of order? Is that too out of order?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Your AI. What are you talking about? Look at
my
the notes.
AI?
It's right there.
Sure. Yeah. The notes aren't up right now. Yes. Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
That changes things around a little bit, but
we don't have to. We don't have to.
People can wait. Yeah, it's all right. All right. Here's some AI stuff.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
You want to destroy humans?
Okay, I will destroy humans. Okay, I will destroy humans.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot.
Artificial intelligence!
Torch.ai. This is from PR Newswire. Torch.ai opens new all-source fusion lab for intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, research, innovation. Yeah, let me tell you about
a lot of
Torch AI. It's Torch.ai, the Data Infrastructure AI Pioneers, TM. So yes, they trademarked that phrase. The Data Infrastructure AI Pioneers. Maybe we should just trademark a phrase that, puts us as an early pioneer of some, crazy ideas that became true or something. And we can just put TM on it. And then anytime anybody else tries to claim it, we sue them. Announced today the launch of a
good use of our time.
Announced today the launch of a new laboratory for AI and data innovation and research, the Torch.ai All-Source Fusion Lab. The lab is a facility designed for data engineers, data scientists, software developers, and intelligence, and operations analysts to research, test, design, and develop prototypes that apply machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies, making machines and humans more productive by transforming complex data into actionable real-time information. Now, it just sounds like another AI thing, right? I mean, everybody's doing AI. So just another AI thing. Yeah, boring. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Torch.ai's lab, located at the company's Kansas City headquarters, is expected to become a catalyst for AI innovation and research in the region. And Kansas City happens to be one of 12 branches of the Federal Reserve. I'll just mention that here. Yeah, I'll just mention that, and then there'll be another point of reference to kind of suggest that maybe there's a connection. I'm not saying there is. They don't openly say anything about a connection, but I'm just speculating here. And they talk about how they analyze publicly available information. They can sort through, they can scrape all that. We've heard it before, PAI, publicly available information. Quote, "We are excited to use the new facility to bring together national and regional expertise to study some of the most difficult problems of our time. Human trafficking, school safety, political unrest, and nation-state threat," said Brian Weaver, Torch.ai CEO. Quote, we are really excited to invite the public to join some of these sessions. We think it is the start of something much bigger in the KC region. And then they have this generative AI tool called Graph Auto-Oriented Transformer, or GOAT. It's our second GOAT reference today.
Cool.
And the part that makes me wonder about what this really is, and it has to do with some kind of financial thing, is because Torch.ai has plans to incorporate additional solutions for personnel and industry security, underwriting, anti-money laundering, that's AML, and KYC, know your customer, and then fraud and several other mission-critical use cases. And then it says here, the space consists of 2 primary meeting rooms for meeting demonstrations, all source data fusion, quality, blah, blah, blah. Prototyping at unclassified levels, but also you can get classified environments to do all your testing. Torch.ai, the Data Infrastructure AI Pioneers, trademarked, are headquartered in Kansas City with offices in Washington, D.C. I think there might be a little bit more to the whole Federal Reserve connection, at least in proximity, because, of course, Washington, D.C., when it comes to the Federal Reserve, is where the Federal Reserve Board of Governors reside. So they're kind of like the headquarters, the HQ of the Federal Reserve is in D.C., but then they have all these branches throughout the country, Kansas City being a big one. The company builds AI that makes data easier to use by processing data in flight and radically evolving analytic and operational capabilities in any IT environment. The Torch platform instantly unlocks value from data and provides information needed for humans and machines to be more productive, partnering with U.S. military forces. The company's solutions and people support a growing array of national defense capabilities with advanced technology. So we talked about Prometheum. Were you around? I can't remember if you were out when we talked about Prometheum.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, it's that company that came out of nowhere that's suddenly compliant with all of the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission rules when it comes to cryptocurrency regulation. And they just came out of nowhere, and people are really calling out the fact that they don't actually have any product or anything, but somehow they're compliant. And there's they combined Prometheus and Ethereum, and they made the name Prometheum. Well, here's another reference to Prometheus, Torch.ai, the torch bearer, being Prometheus, the light bearer. And I really think this has something a little bit more to do with the militarization, the digital militarization of the government infrastructure, perhaps the Federal Reserve. They're not openly saying it. But
now, what do you mean government infrastructure?
Because if they're working with the U.S. intelligence and they are going to be tracking not just everybody's crypto stuff, that's a big part of it, I think. That's why the KYC, AML. But also human trafficking, school safety, which means, of course, the gun stuff.
Chipping kids.
Yeah, chipping kids too.
Chipping kids and chipping guns.
Chipping kids, chipping guns. Political unrest, which, of course, chipping people just in general because we can't have another January 6th. And nation state threat, because Putin's going to do invade us or whatever. So it's all the things. It's literally all the things. And I don't know, man. I don't trust it. And I think it'll become one of these, just as a projection, perhaps a company or a story like Worldcoin, where no one's really talking about it right now because they just announced their lab and blah blah blah. But in like a year or something, the freedom movement or truther community or whatever, they're going to be like Torch.ai, biggest conspiracy, the devil working its magic on Earth, that whole thing. It'll get picked up in that context in like the next year sometime.
I mean, they're all source fusion lab. They're facilitating the fusion for public-private partnerships, the World Economic Forum, public-private stakeholder capitalism, which, by the way, is just fascism. Like, it's nothing new.
It's just
fascism
digital.
Is the
new stuff, but it's just the same thing. It's
Yeah, I mean, the public-private partnerships is literally just putting different words on fascism, which is the government and corporations, working together. But an all-source fusion lab for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Great. That's exactly where we want all of these technologies being applied. That's wonderful.
Yeah, their website's it's a sleek website unlocking human potential. We build AI that makes data easier, safety, trust, responsibility, partnering with the U.S. military. And they have this very esoteric-looking three-layered thing, platforms, Nexus, which connects all, manages all your enterprises. And then Prism, interesting, Prism. Wasn't there a government program, the Prism program, like 25 years ago? With like a big pyramid and like the logo was like a giant pyramid and the whole deal. And then the Halo.
Was there?
Yeah, I think there was. I remember Derek Gilbert talking about it.
PRISM is a code name for a program under which the United States National Security Agency collects internet communications from. Oh yeah, I mean that was like the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was Edward Snowden's thing.
Yeah, so you got Nexus, Prism, and then Halo, true real-time all-source data fusion, next-generation knowledge graph, moving intelligence to the tactical edge. Yeah.
You know what I think might be possible, and I hope is the reality. That Torch.ai is a scam. It's
I hope so.
Some people came together. They put a bunch of good words together to lure the national security and intelligence agencies in, and all the corporations. Like, let's do it. Let's enslave all of humanity. Do it here at Torch AI's Fusion Lab. And, they get all the money, they get all the grants, they get all the stuff. And, at the top of Torch AI is just like some stoner who's
it's hilarious
figured
because
it out how to get his bag.
There's a photo here. The website scrolls through photos, and one of the photos is literally people walking in the street, and then like the scanners over people's faces, like a biometric scanning of the people. Right. It's just it's either incredibly evil or incredibly ignorant, I guess. I don't know. Or genius, man. Just you can't tell if it's real or parody, and then it just keeps going. Kind of like Worldcoin, you can't tell really if it's parody or like a real thing, but then it's a real thing now. So, I can see this being sort of similar.
Gons, it's that kind of conspiratorial thinking that is handing the reins over to the right-wing extremist, conspiracy theorist fascists, domestic terrorists. It's your fault, and you should stop thinking that way. And I want to share with you what Politico has to say about you and your kind.
Yeah, my brain path, my neural pathways. You're going to tell me about that, Politico?
Let me tell you.
Okay, here you go. What is this? What's the theme here? Is this mind control?
I don't know. Yeah.
It is mind
control.
Mind control weapons.
I don't know. It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things.
And here we go. We're going to do a little bit of deconstruction here, folks. Again, coming from Politico, just a reminder, bills itself as the mainstream news outlet for people who work in Washington. It's for people on the Hill. Only the most elite lizard people read Politico, and here's what they're reading, in case you are wondering. The headline is, What Donald understand about your brain? What does Trump understand about my brain? Isn't that the question of the hour? You can see this
header image here.
Politico style header image is very sort of artsy, very sort of symbolic. You've got Trump, you've got Victor, you got Putin. They're kind of in the middle. They're towering over a brain, which is presumably your brain. There's a couple of eyeballs floating up. They're kind of cut out like out of a magazine, and they're watching. Kind of a lot of symbology there. Up in those lines that are kind of crisscrossing above Trump's head, you do have a pentagram up there. That's kind of fun. Always fun to pick those out. Thank you, Politico. And here you go, folks. This is one of those times where we get to read about ourselves in the eyes of the elites. And as usual, it expresses the idea that they have no idea what they're talking about and or are entirely hypocritical. Here's how it goes. Who's this written by? Marcel Denisi. Okay. Why do people believe some politicians' lies even when they have been proven false? Okay, so we know they're talking about Trump and Putin and all these guys, but through this whole thing, I'm also asking myself, like, why do people believe Biden when he outright lies just straight up? So, that's kind of part of it. As we make it through here, it's a nice exercise. Yeah, and it's not even about left and right. Like, it's not left-right paradigm stuff. That's not what we're here about.
Right.
But you can really, you can locate, you can triangulate where the person writing this is completely oblivious to the actual facts they're reading about, the facts that they are writing about, having any other effect on the world besides the one that has to do with MAGA. Why do people believe some politicians' lies even when they have been proven false? And why do so many of the same people peddle conspiracy theories? Okay. Lying and conspiratorial thinking might seem to be two different problems, but they turn out to be related. I study political rhetoric and have tried to understand how populist politicians use language to develop a cult-like following, divide nations, create culture wars, and instill hatred. This pattern goes back to antiquity and is seen today in leaders including former President Donald Trump, Hungary's Viktor Orban, and Russia's Vladimir Putin. And that's it. Nobody else. Nobody else is dividing nations and creating culture wars and instilling hatred. I think it was interesting just right off the bat. They're going to be talking about how, these guys lie and create conspiracy theories to gain power over people and brainwashing people, basically. And there's never 1 second that any of these ideas literally can apply to any politician. In fact, it could just be the job description of politician.
Right.
It goes on. These leaders are capable of using words and speeches to whip people into such an emotional tempest that they will do things like march on the seat of Congress or invade a neighboring country. What makes this kind of speech worrying is that it is not just emotions like aggression they can manipulate. Politicians can also use rhetoric to influence the public's thoughts and beliefs. It's just so stupid so far. Okay. And spread lies and conspiracy theories. Those lies and conspiracy theories are stubbornly resistant to countervailing facts and can sow divisions that destabilize their own societies.
He loves using all the buzzwords.
Yeah. So there's some things to point out here. They're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. They're going to be talking about facts or countervailing facts. And then they're going to be talking about sort of the consequences of these things. And keep in mind, this person has only one idea about conspiracy theories, only one idea about facts, and of course, one idea about destabilizing societies. My research, this is the author, my research analyzes real speeches made by politicians, past and present, including those of Trump, Orban, and Putin, using cognitive linguistics, a branch of linguistics that examines the relationship between language and the mind. Yeah, sort of, a little bit like what we do to this person's articles.
I was going to say, anybody can do this.
Media. Yeah, the relationship between language and the mind. I think that's the most basic relationship that exists. What I have found is that throughout history, speeches by dictators and autocrats have one thing in common. They use dehumanizing metaphors to instill and propagate hatred of others. So that's the whole thing, dehumanizing metaphors. Let's go. It is well documented that, for example, words like reptiles and parasites were used by the Nazi regime to compare outsiders and minorities to animals.
So we are basically Nazis, is what they're saying.
If you say reptiles, if you talk about reptiles, you're doing what Nazis do. I think it's a little bit ironic that Nazi is kind of the same thing. Calling somebody a Nazi is the same thing that they're going to explain here. But they do talk a lot about Nazis in this article. So it's going to be cool. Strong rats or pests or a plague. Yeah, like the unvaccinated. Those dirty dogs spreading their plague everywhere. And it's effective regardless of whether the people who hear this language are predisposed to jump to extreme conclusions. Once someone is tuned into these metaphors, their brain actually changes.
Wait.
Actually changes is in italics, by the way.
Yeah. How does he know this?
Yeah. Oh, you just wait. Okay. Once someone is tuned into these metaphors, their brain actually changes in ways that make them more likely to believe bigger lies, even conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories.
So just to summarize real quick, they're saying if a politician uses language like calling certain groups rats, pests, or plague, perhaps even Nazis, or unvaccinated, or whatever, domestic terrorists, reptiles, parasites, that the use of those words, I don't know what they mean by actually changes, but the brain actually changes when you use those words. And it makes you believe conspiracy theories just by calling people names. The metaphors are part of a cognitive process that entraps people in this kind of thinking, while others are unaffected. Here's how it works. I just cannot stop thinking about the ways that, for instance, people on the left get entrapped in this kind of thinking because of the metaphors and the mean names
MAGA
that you can call the other side.
Yeah,
exactly.
The whole
Maggots.
MAGA thing is a metaphor, yeah.
Maggots and whatever. The first step to... just wait till you hear the types of things they think are metaphors. The first step to manipulating the minds of the public, or really the precondition, is that listeners need to be in the right emotional state. In order to hack into the minds of the public, people need to feel fear or uncertainty. That could be caused by economic instability or pre-existing cultural prejudices, but the emotional basis is fear. We know this. Politicians love fear. Yeah. The brain is designed to respond to fear in various ways, with its own built-in defense mechanisms, which produce chemicals in the response pattern, such as cortisol and adrenaline. These chemical responses, which zip straight past our logical brains to our fight or flight reactions, are also activated by forms of language that instill fear, either directly, as in a vocal threat, or more insidiously, by twisted facts, which allay fears through lies and deceptive statements.
Twisted facts. So not lies, but twisted facts.
Yeah, malinformation. Facts that are inconvenient. Here we go. In this state, dehumanizing metaphors are very effective. So you get somebody scared, and then you start making dehumanizing metaphors. My research shows that this language taps into... Okay, this is where they got kind of lost me. My research shows that this language taps into and switches on existing circuits in the brain that link together important and salient images and ideas. Okay, they never again give any facts about their research, how they do their research, what kind of research. The way they're describing it is like they are literally watching the synapses in the brain turn on and turn off, using dehumanizing metaphors, watching the electrical signals in people's brains bring to mind images and ideas when they hear these metaphors. That's sort of what they're implying, but I get the feeling that their very own description of their research is a metaphor. They're speaking about it in metaphorical terms. In fact, when it says, my research shows that this language taps into and, quote, in quotations, switches on existing circuits in the brain, it feels like that whole thing is a metaphor. Now, in effect, metaphors bypass higher cognitive reasoning centers to make linkages that may not have a basis in reality. And when that happens, a person is less likely to notice the lie because it feels right. So, the idea is a metaphor is a weapon that can directly turn somebody into a conspiracy theorist. This pattern becomes more effective the more it's used. According to studies, the more these circuits are activated, the more hardwired they become, until it becomes almost impossible to turn them off. What this means is repetitive uses of dehumanizing metaphors, Orange Man, are incredibly powerful to those brains already willing to hear them, because they direct their thoughts, making it easy to focus on certain things and ignore others. Again, just a big hole, nothing burger, talking about how metaphors are powerful rhetorical tools and evil dictators use metaphors. The same is true of conspiracy theories. The neuroscientific research shows that people who believe them develop more rigid neural pathways, meaning they find it difficult to rethink situations once this pattern of thinking is established. Now, this is where I think they get dangerously close to giving up the game, because you talk about people who find it difficult to rethink things because of their current thinking. Sure, maybe you can say conspiracy theorists, but you can also say pro-vacciners, people who believe the science, really
what about
anybody.
The guy writing this article?
Exactly, the guy writing this article who is finding it difficult to rethink a situation. This also means that if someone is already more susceptible to believing lies in the form of dehumanizing metaphors, and this same person comes across a big lie or conspiracy theory that fits into that well-trodden neural pathway, they are more likely to believe it and be influenced by it. Kind of like, Donald Trump, of course, he's friends with Putin. He's Putin's puppet. Of course, he's all these things. It doesn't matter that those have been debunked by official government investigations. No, it's a well-trodden path. This is how language that might seem like harmless hyperbole winds up literally changing the way people think. And once they think differently, they can act in ways that they might not have before. Whoa! It's like harmless hyperbole guns is a weapon. Now, they mention, they go into Russia. They talk about Putin, talking about Putin's labeling of the Ukrainian leadership as Nazi falls into this category, saying that Putin was being metaphorical, that there are Nazis in Ukraine. So as powerful as a metaphor can be, which I agree, metaphors can be powerful. I don't know about rewiring your brain, but okay. Putting the label of metaphor on things is also a very powerful weapon. For instance, we know that the Ukraine has a Nazi problem, not a metaphorical Nazi problem. We know they have a literal Nazi problem. There are Nazis or neo-Nazis or whatever in Ukraine. Many of them are fighting for the Ukrainians. There are Nazis in Ukraine. That is well known. It's in the New York Times. It's in CNN. Everybody knows it. But Putin's labeling of the Ukrainian leadership as Nazi falls into this metaphorical category. So you can see how you can start destabilizing worldviews and, honestly, in my opinion, objective truths by just claiming that something is a metaphor. There's going to be another example in a second here. So Putin labeling Ukrainian leadership as Nazi falls into this category, a powerful slur against the Jewish leader Zelensky, whom Putin called a disgrace to the Jewish people. Significantly, he uses this alongside dehumanizing language to justify the invasion of Ukraine. Again, they're trying to say that he added things alongside dehumanizing language to justify the invasion of Ukraine, claiming it as a mission to denazification, eliminating Ukraine of its Nazi filth by innuendo. The use of the dirt and filth metaphor, coupled with the historically loaded terminology, is pervasive linguistic tool. Okay, do we know anybody else who's Do we know anybody else who's calling anybody else a Nazi?
The entire mainstream media calling Trump or Trump supporters. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So
Nazi is thrown around. So by their own logic here, they are dismantling the left's use of Nazi to describe the right, so calling it metaphorical and a weapon. And I think we would agree with that. At this point in America, calling somebody a Nazi is, I think, a metaphorical weapon most of the time.
Yeah.
These dehumanizing metaphors have been used consistently to tap into the neural pathways of fearful or anxious people already are waiting to believe. We're hacking minds, Gons. We don't need cyborgs to hack the minds of men. We can hack them with metaphor. This helps explain why so many Trump supporters were influenced by QAnon conspiracy hoax in the lead up to the 2020 presidential election. Trump's big lie refers to the false claim that the election was rigged and stolen from him through massive electoral fraud, even though that assertion has been repeatedly debunked. Gons?
Lie.
Honestly, I don't know what the big lie and election rigging and stuff claims has anything to do with metaphor, but apparently this person put both of these ideas in the same paragraph, so we're supposed to believe that Trump's big lie, his claims that the election was rigged and stolen, was some sort of powerful brainwashing metaphor. Okay. But here's a great one. Significantly, Trump also supported his big lie with the same pattern of conspiracy theories and fake news reported in far-right social media, such as QAnon, that spurred Trump supporters to attack the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. I can't. I'm going to just walk right past that one.
That's its own conspiracy theory, yeah.
This sustained use of the central metaphor of a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic abusers of children conspiring against Trump will easily fit into the entrenched neural pathways of someone who is already willing to believe. Nobody, I mean, maybe somebody, but people who believe about a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic abusers of children conspiring against Trump, I don't think that they think that's a metaphor. That's like a literal. They think that there's literal cabal of satanic, cannibalistic abusers of children conspiring against Trump. That's not a metaphor in the eyes of people on the right, the Trump supporters. This author has revealed to apparently politicians, all the politicians, that the beliefs of people that influence the ways that they vote are primarily metaphors. Now, if someone who believes the cabal of satanic, cannibalistic abusers of children conspiring against Trump is a metaphor, how is, I don't know, opening up the border not a metaphor? How is Russian collusion not a metaphor? How is any of these things? How is Ukrainian money laundering not a metaphor? How are any of these things not metaphor? I think what's being revealed here by the description and the explanation by this person in Politico is something that we've kind of talked about when it comes to narrative crafting and worldview crafting. To control the narrative is to control truth, which is to control worldview, which controls people's experiences in their lives. So it doesn't matter. Exactly. It doesn't matter if something is true or not. Even if it is true, it's just a metaphor being used for brainwashing. It reveals this very twisted mindset of those at the top, at least this journalist at Politico, which it's almost like they don't, I mean, we know this, they don't really believe that there is any objective truth, but even more so that they can create truth and justify it by calling it a metaphor. It doesn't matter what we say because it's just a metaphor to help people, make it through the day or whatever. It's really revealing to the mainstream media mindset.
You know who else uses metaphor? Certain type of Satanists. Satan is a metaphor. It's not a real being. It's a metaphor.
I forget which one it is. Yeah, Satanic Church or the Satanic Temple, Church of Satan, one of them, claims that Satan is a metaphor. The tricky thing about all this is that some people are more susceptible to this rhetoric manipulation than others. This comes down to critical thinking and brain training. I'm going to skip a little bit of this. It kind of talks about the same thing. Like, oh, they're so stupid. They don't critically think. They hear a metaphor. They think it's real. And then that happens over and over and over. And now they're crazy. And they love Trump and blah, blah, blah. But the real doozy comes at the end, Gons. And this is what freaks me out about this. I'll start at the third paragraph from the bottom. People with strong convictions will have a hard time changing their minds. Given how embedded a lie becomes in the mind. I think you can just replace that word lie with metaphor or fact. I don't think it matters to this person. In fact, there are scientists and scholars still studying the best tools and tricks to combat lies with some combination of brain training and linguistic awareness. Yeah, they're just sort of admitting that the government is continuing to perfect propaganda. Propaganda is another word that you can throw in here. But here goes the doozy. Not all hope is lost, however. There's hope, Gons. Not all hope is lost. History has shown that disruptive events, such as the toppling of a regime or the loss of a war, can force a new perspective, and the brain is able to recalibrate. So it is at least possible to change this pattern. Once the critical mind is engaged, away from the frenzy and fear of manipulation, the lie can become clear. This is the uplifting moral tale that can be gleaned from history.
Moral tale.
All the great liars, from dictators to autocrats to presidents of the United States, were eventually defeated by truth, which eventually will win out.
Yeah,
now, this is something we can all be very hopeful about.
Yeah.
You know?
Depends on what it means by truth, but sure.
The end of this article is this person yearning, just yearning for a disruptive event.
I know.
Like the toppling of a regime or the loss of war. How will we possibly snap out all these MAGA heads or these Republicans or these Christians? How will these people ever realize that they are so lost? We're going to need to lose a war in order to reset the MAGA heads, Trump supporters, Republicans, cops, all these things. We need a great reset. Exactly. The whole thing is a defense of the horrible outcome of losing a war. We will be better for it after we lose a war or a regime topples or something horrible happens. And that's not all, Gons. It ends with, but the bad news is that you need that kind of disruption. You need it. Without these jarring events to bring a dose of reality, it is unlikely that people with strong convictions will ever change their minds. Something that benefits the autocrat and endangers their society. Again, this person is entirely blind to the fact that the way they're talking about the right can
be applied to his own party.
At least just as much be applied to, the Antifa, radical Democrat, blah, blah.
This disruption is also lifting from our entire idea of rattling cages, by the way.
Exactly. And you can put it into kind of biblical terms too, which is like this person is recognizing that there will be no unity in the minds of men until a catastrophe, perhaps even an apocalypse, which puts a weird spin on the COVID pandemic, because in a way, I'm not saying it was the apocalypse, but it was a apocalypse. It was an unveiling. Lots of people woke up to a lot of things going on. It became clear, laid bare that the fallacy of the scientific technocratic dictatorship did not have our best interests in mind. A lot of people on both sides of the aisle can agree that that was a moment where that could happen. And, I don't want to give the impression that it's just radicals that, need to be disrupted. It's just your normal politically engaged person. They are just trapped in a sort of prison of metaphor being given to them by their chosen champions, their politicians. And it's almost disturbing the way that this writer, again, yearns for the solution. One might even say the final solution of some sort of catastrophe in the country. Was thinking. I mean, this guy is like nerdy Thanos who's writing for Politico. And I think more than anything,
Thanos today,
it's revealing what we already know, about the political elite and the plans that they have for us, whether it's Klaus Schwab, talking about all sorts of big catastrophes that will lead to the renewal of a one world order, all these things. And the fact that you could take this exact same article, change a couple of names, change it from Putin and Trump, change it to Hillary and Biden or whatever, and it's exactly as true as it is now. But more than anything, it is disturbing to see how, remember, this Politico is the outlet that politicians read, allegedly. This is what all the senators are reading, and everybody is reading this going, yes, you're right. We do need a disruptive event. We do need an apocalypse. That'll snap everybody into shape, and then they can get chipped and vaccinated, and all will be well. And I think they might be right.
For the most part, probably, yeah. For the majority of the population, I would say they're correct. This kind of reminds me of we need another Pearl Harbor event right before the 2001 Towers September 11th thing. So hopefully, people stay safe out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody feels it. Everybody knows it. We're all watching it live. It's almost like whatever catastrophe goes on next, it's going to be hard to surprise anybody.
Right.
Talk about putting people in the state of fear, putting people in the state of stress. That's what this person is saying. A politician will put you into a fear state, and then they can control you with metaphor. Every day we're hearing about Putin launching a nuke.
Yeah.
And every day, and if something as simple as calling somebody a Nazi is considered a metaphor, this is the sort of modern state of magic that I've talked about in the past. This is related at least to the ongoing sort of spell being cast on anyone who will hear it. And if nothing else, this is a very interesting analysis of how exactly the spells work that we're sort of subjected to almost on a daily basis. Oh, did Gons pass? Hello? Oh boy. What's going on? I feel so alone. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if I can hear me. I heard a big crash. You know what probably happened? Probably a baby ran in and yanked the microphone out of the wall or something. I'm going to do, yes, because microphones get plugged into the wall, as everybody knows. I have no idea if I am live right now or not. No idea if this is going to be in the podcast or not. I am not muted. That's good news. Just doing a quick little refresh. Could this be the catastrophe that was spoken of? This must have been it. The moment has come, folks. It is the great reset. The great Gons reset. Okay. Thank you, chat. live, and Gantz has completely disappeared and left the screen on the article. Did Gantz just get black bagged live on air? Oh no. Okay, folks, hold on one second. I'm going to sit here and stall and speak to you while I just do a little checkaroonski on old Gonzo. Send him a little textaroonski here. You good? Question mark. There's a chance he can hear me, but who knows? All right. So, okay. Sorry. I'm seeing some notes here.
Okay.
There he is. What happened?
I had some family leaving, so I had to.
Had to say bye-bye.
Talk, or at least see them. They came all the way out here, and I did not see them because I was doing the show.
Oh, yeah. You're a working man.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think the moment has come. Unless you have anything else to say, we should take a breather.
Okay. Let's do that. What are we doing?
Okay.
Where am I? I don't know where we're doing.
Oh, well, we should play some voicemails if we have any.
I don't think we do. We had that pre-show prayer from Brenton JB, so thank you for that.
Yep.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. Look for the green tab on the right side of the bottom. Click on it, and it will give you a little pop-up where you can record a message of up to 90 seconds, audio form, and we will play it. Can we blast through some producers and
sure
do all that?
Let's do it.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
That's right. It's value for value, folks. If you get value, put some value back in, and whatever makes sense for you. Maybe it's your talent. Maybe you can make some art. Your time. You can help us out with all sorts of stuff. Or your treasure. You can send in some of your hard-earned fiat USD. It helps us keep the lights on here. Helps keep the babies fed. All that kind of stuff. And we got a few more financial producers who came in. A couple of old schoolers that we get to hear from. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, we're starting with Puddin22. Puddin22 is back. Our feline
Cat
producer. She stole her. Well, we don't say owner when it comes to a cat, but their roommate stole the credit card and produces the show once in a while. Puddin22 comes in for 33.33.
There you
go. And note here: greetings, Basil and Gons. Meow. Thankful you are both healthy and continuing on your mission to inform the masses with the truth. I've been a bit MIA myself, but still listening and praying for you. It's been a long summer cat nap. Blessings, Puddin22. Yes, we understand. Weird summer for all.
Yep.
Next up, we got producer Malik W.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, coming in. Nice round number. Second episode in a row. Two episode streak.
What's the streak? Oh, streak. 2 episodes.
Thanks, Malik. Streak Malik. Next up, we got Sir Marty Kane out of the wrong timeline.
He's also in a streak.
3 episode streak, heating up.
He's heating up.
Let's see. Comes in for 999. Yes, there is. I was pulling it up.
It comes in different places, so I don't know if it's one thing or 2 things, or I get confused from Sir Marty K.
And he's got multiple emails as well, too. I realized I just pulled up the wrong one. Oh, no.
I have this one that says, Dear Basil, in CCN number, I think CCNT, number 646.
I don't think that's it.
Okay.
I got this one that came in yesterday here.
Okay.
Hey, fellas and fellow Canarians, about boiling climate change. If you play the video I have attached to this email, 24 seconds, recorded 1st of August, 2023, about 11:30 a.m., Copenhagen, Denmark, you will see that the global boiling warming is non-existent. There are 2 theories for why that is. And the first one is, quote, that because some Danish DJ is as cold as ice, that he is cooling the climate down in his vicinity, and that is why it's not boiling hot in Copenhagen. Or some Danes, not me, of course, are cold-hearted and calculating, and that's why it's cold in Copenhagen. Since I am a Dane, and it makes me pretty biased. I can't really be the judge about which is which. That's interesting. This might be an interesting European translation thing. He spells which is a witch. Which, W-H-I-C-H, is a witch, W-I-T-C-H. And who is not. So you have to do your own research on that one. LOL. I have also sent some art to the art section. Oh, okay. I missed that.
That's what I have over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I missed the art section. Don't get confused by me sending you 2 emails. I was a little confused, but that's okay. He does send a video here, a video of Copenhagen, Denmark, and we can confirm it is not boiling. And who knows? It could be because of the collective frozen hearts of the Danes, or maybe Sir Marty K, not of the wrong timeline, is just very cool. Actually, that video is not playing for me, but I believe you. Do you have it pulled up? It's right there on the email.
I don't even know where the email came. Yeah, I'm completely lost on this one.
Oh, geez. We should have taken more time to prepare for Marty K. Well, I'll tell you what. It's not boiling. Thank you very much, Sir Marty K, not of the wrong timeline.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we got Sir Alex Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol, pocket full of 7s. 199 episodes in a row.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sir Alex Protocol
Thank
V2.
you very much. Next up, we got producer Jack D.
Jack D. Is he jacked?
Jack D. He's jacked.
You think he's jacked? Yeah.
Comes in with a nice round number, so we won't disclose that. But a note says, much love in Jesus Christ. Thank you very much, producer Jack D.
Thank you very much, jacked.
Jacked. And I believe that concludes our list of financial producers who produce a show in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. A few people came in under that. We'll thank them real quick, starting with Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 327 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
Got Veronica D, 289 in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 317 in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Dame Gale, Canary Whisper, and Lady of X's and O's, 289 in a row.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Sir Morv, Knight of the Burning Chariots, 260 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Morv.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule.
Women rule. Thank you very much to all of our financial producers. It means the world to us, and we could not do this show without you. So keep that in mind as you listen, no matter when or how much you listen. Just know you're personally responsible for keeping us alive. And everybody else who gets value from the show, feel free to jump in. It takes a village of birds. A flock takes a flock to keep this little baby bird running. So if you get any value from the show, pray about it. Consider what it is that you can put back in as value. It's a wonderful way to disconnect yourself from the corporate data-driven, soul-stealing system that we've been subjected to for so long. And you can go to canarycry.support for more.
Yep. Let's thank some producers coming in with their talent, starting off with the audio producers.
Audio production.
I'm going to kick it off with Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
We played the Worldcoin jingle earlier. That was a clip. It was like a 9 to 10 second clip from this 55-second piece that was sent in by Jonathan F. He says, hello, a quick recap about the exchange of biometrics for crypto in song form. Enjoy.
The need to prove a person is real is, quote, no longer a topic of serious debate in the age of AI. In order to prove a person is real is no longer a topic of serious debate in the age of AI. This is a quote that adding that Worldcoin hopes to build a privacy-first, decentralized, and maximally inclusive. A lot of great buzzwords there. way of addressing this problem. So there you go. They're just describing the beast system. You cannot do anything that is settled. There is no debate. You must have digital ID, and you must bow down to the org.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Thank you, Jonathan F. So yeah, we definitely extracted a Worldcoin jingle out of that. So appreciate that. Next up, we have Little Owen. He says, Matthew 25:40, and the king shall answer and say unto him, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. And again, it's a track that will play in full at the end of the show. Here's a small taste from the beginning. I love this this beat and rhythm here. You know what I love about our producers is together, it's kind of like a Power Ranger, you know, like different parts. You got the music, you got the visuals, and it kind of comes together. It all works. It's really very cool. So thank you very much, Little Owen, for another great track. Moving on here. We got Sir Marty K, Knight of the Wrong Timeline. And this is the audio, or the I guess it's a video. I don't know. I can't tell. What do I do with video feeds like this? Is it technically audio? It's not audio. I guess it's visual.
What?
Anyway, here it is.
What is the question here? Okay.
I don't know. Dear Basil, in CCN 646, when you were out and about and Gonzo were alone on the show, he and I made a gentleman's agreement, timestamp 1/1958, that we would start up the dad jokes again. And since you missed this one, here it is again, just for you. Just let Gonzo play the clip while he reads. The Danish flag, a Sunday afternoon in front of the church. Ain't it beautiful? Aren't you just blown away? And for those of you just listening, there's a Danish flag blowing in the wind.
Blowing wind.
Yes.
Yeah, this is good. This is a very good use of our time. I appreciate this very much.
Thank you, Sir Marty K.
Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. Cope, I will say this. Sir Marty K is convincing me that Copenhagen seems like a wonderful place this time of year.
Oh, very much so. It's, a little breeze. Looks nice. All right, let's get to some art here.
One art, please.
This one piece of art we have today, of course, is from Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
He says, peace for today's artwork. I made a possible sticker design for the supply drop of our dear leader. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. It's Dove.
Thank you very much, Sir Dove. And as I very quickly put, oh, yes, this is great. This is like a pin or a sticker or something that's very fun. It's got the Union Jack in the background, the flag there of the UK. It's got Joe Biden looking presidential, but also his eyes are closed, and he's sort of smirking to himself like he is remembering a dad joke from another era. And across the top there says, God save the Queen, man.
Yep, he's got the derpy Baphomet pin on his lapel there. And, Canary cried out on the side.
You will be remembered. This is very important. You don't really realize it at first, but the more you look at this sticker, the more absurd it is. You're like, okay, it's Biden, and weird, that's the wrong flag behind him. Okay, you got the Union Jack flag. Why are his eyes closed? Okay. Why is he smiling? What is going on here? It's a thinker. It's a thinker. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. Appreciate your consistency and your willingness to continue to provide fantastic art for the show. It's definitely...
And all your human resources you're having over there.
Yes, very much so. So God bless you. Thank you very much. All right, let's do a couple microfiction here.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
This first one is from Rung Smash.
The giant Canary man nears the center of the dark scientific temple. Nervously, he dons a mask with comically large googly eyes and then steps up to the scanner. Moments later, the door opens and an electric voice says, "Welcome, Dusty." He's made it.
Looks like you rigged the system.
Old Dusty. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
The saga continues. The chronicles continue to predict the future, I think.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, one more microfiction from Stephen S. Stephen S, there it is.
After returning to the States from Antarctica, formerly a non-binary janitor, Zoe authored a tell-all book on their tenure in the White Desert. Joining the UFO circuit, they claim being in the presence of giant alien beings with thick German accents. Eric Hecker, Raytheon contractor, South Pole.
Yeah, I remember this clip.
All right, I think that last part wasn't supposed to be in there. Let's just go with the giant alien beings with thick German accents.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much to Stephen S. there. Yeah, that was about the guy the Raytheon contractor who worked at the South Pole that allegedly saw a bunch of stuff that he wasn't supposed to see, and now he's talking at a conference. He got a book. Everybody buys book, apparently. There you go.
What a life.
Yeah, what a life. Speaking of Antarctica, we got Antarctica. Should we just go right into it? We'll thank the producers for all their production.
Yeah, thank you all the producers. Go to canarycry.art if you want to upload some art. I'm seeing now that we had a couple more send in. We'll hit those on the next show. Canarycry.art or canarycry.report if you want to send us some articles to consider for the show.
Yep. Let's knock this one out here.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Antarctica in the bottom of our planet. Advanced Antarctica. Climate crisis.
Penguins.
Russia.
Oh, Russia, too. What does Russia and Antarctica have anything to do with each other? This is Live Science. Headline: Russian scientists have grown watermelons in the coldest place on Earth.
Wow. That's it. They've done it. They've beat
over.
us.
It's over.
They are now the one and only global superpower.
We are going to be eating bugs. Russians are going to be eating watermelons. Scientists in Antarctica did the unimaginable. They grew a bounty of watermelons while living on the ice-cold continent, Antarctica. The agricultural feat was part of an experiment at Vostok Station, a year-round Russian research station located at the Pole of Cold, so named because...
The Pole of Cold.
Pole of Cold. I think we've mentioned that before.
Pole of Cold. This is something that Antarctica has to deal with that no other continent has to deal with. Whenever somebody's writing an article about Antarctica, they've got to come up with as many ways to Sunday to not say Antarctica. It's not like if you're telling a story about Africa, you're like, Africa, the warm place. Ah, yes, Africa, the tiger.
Swarm of warm.
The tiger on the table, the swarm of warm. Yeah, what the heck are they doing?
The blot of hot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, it's named Pole of Cold, so named because it's classified as the coldest place on Earth, where recorded temperatures once reached a frigid minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Watermelons arose in what is now Sudan more than 4,300 years ago. Little history there. In other words, the berry evolved far away from the frigid environment of Antarctica. To make Vostok Station's greenhouse more hospitable to watermelons, researchers from the Russian Antarctic Expedition of the Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute, ARI, alongside colleagues from the Agrophysical Research Institute and the Institutional Biomedical Problems of the Russian Academy of Sciences. Oh, gee. Created
Institute of Biomedical Problems of the Russian Academy of Sciences. Okay.
Created an oasis where they could increase the air temperature and humidity to conditions that were favorable to the juicy fruit. The team purportedly selected 2 varieties of early ripening watermelons, not only for their delicious taste, but also for their ability to adapt to the low atmospheric pressure and lack of oxygen inside the greenhouse. They planted the seeds in a thin layer of soil substitute and used special lighting that mimicked sunlight because there were no insects to pollinate the plants. The researchers were tasked with pollinating everything by hand, according to translated statement from Ari. Exactly 103 days after planting the seeds, the researchers were greeted by 8 ripe and sweet fruits growing across 6 different plants. The melons grew to be up to about 2 pounds, each with diameters of up to 5 inches, according to a translated statement from the Russian Geographical Society. And they got a little video, showcasing.
You got to give it to the Russians. I mean, they are sending a strong message here. Message of resilience, adaptation, juicy deliciousness.
Weren't they?
Is this a threat? I think the Russians might be threatening us with their watermelons.
Well, it's interesting because it's through live science, and it's kind of a not pro-Russian, but not anti-Russian article.
Oh, it's pro-Russian, baby. They made some delicious watermelons where nobody else could.
Well, wasn't Russia the place where they built those like pyramids and they grew like ginormous pumpkins and like huge, I can't remember what they were, like tomatoes or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
No idea what I'm talking about. Really? Somebody in the chat must know. Yeah,
you just asked me if Russia was the place where they grew big tomatoes and pumpkins.
Large fruit, large vegetables. I'll find it. Let's continue, shall we?
Sure.
Quote, naturally, all polar explorers were glad to remember the taste of summer, Andrei Teplikilov, lead geophysicist at the RE, told the Russian Geographical Society. Even the observation of seedlings' growth and the appearance of fruit elicited positive emotions. It's about the emotions. This isn't the first time that produce has been grown at Vostok Station. In 2020, researchers successfully grew a variety of plants, including dill, basil, parsley, arugula, and cabbage, according to the statement. And in 2021, Korean scientists grew watermelons. Those Korean scientists, man, lots of breakthroughs.
Koreans? Yeah. What did the Koreans grow?
Watermelons at King Sejong Station in West Antarctica, 2021. They were there first. Asians, baby.
Koreans grew. So this isn't even special. The Russians didn't even break any new ground here. Look at these Koreans. They're growing watermelons in Antarctica. They're creating room temperature superconductors. What can't those Koreans do? Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe that's why people want to become Asian using subliminals at night, They're pretty cool, pretty on top of it. I'm going to have to start on my subliminals.
Okay, so this is not the greatest source, but it speaks to what I was talking to because according to Gaia.com, the secret power of Russian pyramids, they had healing powers and they grew large fruit and vegetables.
Sure, why not? But the Koreans did it first, and that's what matters.
K-pop wins again, apparently. K-pop is leading us straight to the apocalypse.
As we know, reporting on Antarctica is not merely just reporting facts. It's also reporting messages. It's a messaging system.
The metaphor.
There's a metaphor.
Of the Great White Desert metaphor.
Yes, the Russians growing watermelon in Antarctica is a metaphor being used to radicalize
Eskimos.
Penguins?
Penguins.
I think penguins. That's what they're doing here. You could probably really get some penguins on your side if you offered them the sweet fruit. Maybe, what if that's like part of the, crossing the barrier? between whatever's on the other side of the ice wall. You need to, give them a taste.
I saw some fun flat Earth posts today on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it. It was like a picture of a wall and then like some little huts on the other side of the wall. And
I saw that.
The caption was like, "They're lying on the other side too."
Yes.
Like, whoa, bro.
Well, see,
what evidence do you have for that? That's crazy.
If you bring them watermelons, they will show you their antediluvian technology.
Oh man, yeah. I guess watermelons is the reason why everybody will be saying peace, peace until sudden destruction.
Yeah, I think that the Russians are really sending a strong message here. And we all need to go down into our bunkers because once the Russians start growing watermelons in Antarctica, it's a threat, it's a provocation, and it's Putin's puppet. The watermelon is Putin's puppet. Yeah.
Oh, would it be like Wilson from what's that movie?
Yeah.
He's gonna draw a face on it, and it'll be like his.
They edited that out of the article about how these 8 watermelons were then ceremoniously given faces and passed out to the different scientists so they could have friends that weren't the other scientists because, these Russian Antarctic scientists famous for killing each other over games of chess. This is a national project to keep their Antarctic scientists alive.
Right.
And appease the interdimensional beings that are guarding the ice wall. So there you go. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We will be going live again someday. I think maybe this Friday is a CCR episode, so tune in for that. And thank you to all of our producers. I want to thank the Clippies.
Oh, yes, I have this ready.
Clippy on those videos. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Clippies. Hey, if you haven't done it yet, folks, go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. That's a good place to go. Just hang out there, lots of watermelons and chess games that are non-fatal. Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Go subscribe. And thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right. They're time-stamping the shows. It goes into so much of our back-end stuff. We're eternally grateful to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps for episode 650.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Clank for everything you do. And other than that, just share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it the normal way, word of mouth. Put it in a box and just ship it to anybody who will have it. But some people want to get a little creative with it. You want to express yourself, the unique, diverse ways that the Lord has given you talents and skills that nobody else could compare to. And perhaps you want to do something that's never been done before except for twice. And that is grow a watermelon inside of a podcast. Have you done that yet? It's time. It's warm, folks. The earth is boiling, and what do you need on a boiling day? Is you need a nice, cool watermelon. And when you crack that watermelon open, it's not just the yummy juices and the refreshing watermelon scent, but also, what's that? If you put your ear in between two halves of that watermelon, suddenly it looks like you're wearing 2 giant green headphones. You silly goose, look at your giant watermelon headphones. And people will be like, hey, what are you doing, Mr. Watermelon Headphones? And you'd be like, I'm just listening to my favorite podcast, Canary Cry News Talk. And then you take another watermelon, you split that in half. You give that to your friend, just put it on either side of their head, and suddenly they're waking up to the fact that the mainstream corporate news media does not have their interests at heart, and that there are biblical level events going on every day. And also, you got watermelon on your ears now. Look at that. Don't let the seeds go in. They might grow in your head. That's just one way to share the show, folks. You don't have to share it that way. In fact, very few of you will, cowards. But you can share it any way you want. We like to call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is we'll walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
I have an idea.
Uh-oh.
This is for Sam Altman. You can send the check to me. You're going to disguise an orb as a watermelon.
That's
and you're
it.
Tell people this is a Russian watermelon. Take a look.
That's the message.
Take a look.
Spray paint a watermelon chrome and see how many people you can get to bow down in front of it.
It's the other way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Get activities.
Yeah,
We're not just a podcast. We're also a treasure trove of ideas of activities to do with your kids. Come on, kids. Let's go see how many people we can get to bow down to this watermelon. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Canary Crime News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
Sinful generation!
Son of a beastie.
There was a canary in the coal mine.
Canaries in a cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Buy gold, bye! Bye.
I'm out of here. Bye.
Canary cry, that's support.